Hey, it's me, Vicki Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. Okay, sorry I'm a little bit late. I've been messing around with my streaming software. So you may notice I have bitten the bullet. I have gone back to StreamYard despite them putting their prices up by 3 times, going from €10 a month to 40 odd euros a month. And I've been trying, I cancelled it, and I've been trying to find something else. And anyway, there are lots of other streaming things, but by the time I've signed up to them, I've learned how to use that one. You know, I'm really angry with StreamYard because I do feel that they knew exactly what they were doing. They get people to use them at €10 a month. And then when everybody's using them, then they put it up by a massive amount of money. But the thing is, I'm so invested now with StreamYard. I've got everything set up on there. I know better how to use it, how to use the set outs, etc. So rather than having to learn it all again. Also, sorry, I'm having a little whinge, but if you go on the free plan, I mean, you can be on the free plan, you can't stream to various locations at once. So, you know, I've got 2 YouTube channels, and I've been streaming even crime things to my Learn Spanish YouTube channel, because people seem to be interested in crime on there as well. And you can't do that with StreamYard. So, so they just made everything difficult deliberately, so that in the end you have to sign up for their 40 odd dollars a month plan. And I've done it, but it is much better because now I can put the logo up at the top there. Whoever I'm talking about, I can put their pictures up, so first thing I'm going to be talking about in this video are Elsie, Alice and BB, sorry, and their perpetrator, their killer, who has now been charged with some extra offences. So we're going to talk about that. That's quite, anyway. Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. Then we're also going to talk about the floods in Spain. There's been terrible floods. I mean, I've been really lucky where I am. I've said to those of you, who are regular viewers, when I've been going off to pick up my son from work or whatever, that it's raining, storming, but it's not been that bad here. But there's been 51 people died that we know of so far in those awful storms that they've had across Spain. So we're going to have a look at that. And then we're going to have a look at something that I read about in the papers today about this human Ken, a guy who spent an awful lot of money on his appearance so that he would always look perfect. They called him the human Ken from Ken and Barbie. And he's in trouble now. He's got into trouble with the court system for sextortion. But we're going to have a look at that because I think that is a tale. My thoughts on plastic surgery is it's quite dangerous, isn't it? Because, especially if you start having this surgery when you're young, it just doesn't age well, does it? All this Botox, etc. A little bit here and there is one thing, but for going for it in a big way from even in your 20s, it's a lesson to me. I still haven't gone for it yet. I need it. All right, before you tell me that I need it, I know I need it. But I'll probably get to a point where I can't be bothered with it, even if I wanted to do it. But I doubt it. I could not bear to have something injected, certainly not in my lips or my face. I just couldn't bear it. But, you know, I think a bit of a nip and tuck might be a good thing rather than Botox or whatever, maybe a little bit of a facelift, or, you know, just a little nip and tuck, you know, this bit here that always starts to go. Anyway, we're going to talk about that. So we're going to talk about 3 things. There's a lot of things to talk about. That's not even talking about the budget. If you're in Britain, you know that the budget is today, so there's going to be a big hoo-ha about that, whatever happens. Of course, the American election is advancing quickly. I've not even got into really talking about that. I will be talking about that. These are always contentious issues, aren't they? But, you know, there you go. Some people can't take a debate if you don't agree with. Some people, unfortunately, even hit on here, you know, just because I don't agree with what they say, they don't like it. But you know what? We're all here to debate. We're all here to have our opinions. And it's fine for everyone to have their opinion, but also fine for me to have my opinion. It seems like some people don't seem to think I'm allowed to have one if it doesn't agree with theirs. But anyway, there you go. We're going to talk about all those things another time. So today we're going to talk about these new charges for these in the Southport Stabbings case. We're going to talk about the floods in Spain, and we're going to talk about the human chem. Okay, I'm going to say hello to everybody first. Thank you for spending some time here with me on a Wednesday morning. The rain stopped here now in Spain. It is sunny outside. It's 21 degrees. It's as if the rain never happened. Well, certainly in my area. So I'm sure in these other areas it doesn't feel like that because they're clearing up. For them now, it's a clear up time, isn't it? What else did I want to say? Oh, don't forget to carry on sending me. I've had some brilliant photos for Halloween. Thank you so much. Because Halloween tomorrow, we're going to have a special live stream and more of a sort of fun, spooky type live stream. We might talk about some cases, some true life cases that are connected with Halloween. I've been researching a lot, trying to decide, you know, what exactly to do. We may have a Halloween quiz. I haven't quite decided the format yet, but it'll definitely be spooky. And I have actually scared myself to death researching for Halloween. It's been like so spooky. I'm not a lover of Halloween really, but I like spending it with you guys. You know, that makes it better for me to be able to spend it with you. I've never really liked going out on Halloween, like to restaurants and things. I don't want to be served my meal by a vampire with blood all over the face or whatever. That just doesn't do it for me. But so it's been more fun. Last year we had great fun, didn't we? We spent Halloween together, and we'll be doing the same this year. So if you want, still time till tomorrow morning, you've still got time to send me in your Halloween pictures. So anything's vaguely spookily connected. I've been sent all sorts of things, not only actual to do with Halloween, but they've all got a loose connection with Halloween, and we'll be looking at all those tomorrow. Some have got a strong connection with Halloween and some have got loose connection with Halloween. So send them to vickymariechats@gmail.com. So that's Vicky with an I, vickymariechats@gmail.com. So I'm finally going to get a lot on with it now. You'll be glad to hear. So first of all, I'm just going to say hello to everybody. Hi Kelly, hi Matthew, hi Lorna, hi David. Oh, thank you, Matthew. Thank you. People like the glasses. What is it? I think it's the teacher thing, isn't it? You know, people have this it's like that, the Miss Moneypenny type receptionist teacher thing. Yeah, now good, these glasses, they do sort of, just now I've got the ring light sort of right in the glass so you can see the reflection of the screen. Oh dear. Anyway, I'll put them on in a minute if my eyes start to get tired. And my eyes do get very tired looking at the computer, I've noticed. Hi Jean. Yeah. David. Oh, David promised his wife a facelift for Christmas but couldn't afford the crane. Oh, dear me. Heather, was it your birthday yesterday? Another year. Listen, every year is a blessing, Heather. Every year is a blessing, isn't it? You know, old age isn't so bad when you consider the alternative. So I quite often think about that, and I think so many people that I've known through my life, you know, that are no longer here. And then you've got like little ones like these three who didn't get even a chance to have hardly any life. You know, it's just so yeah, every year is a blessing. Every day is a blessing, isn't it? Really, every hour is a blessing. But you should have told me. So I don't think actually I didn't do a stream last night, did I? But because yeah, Tuesday night, such a late night, such a long day. I was really tired. But today I feel better because I've had a good sleep. So I'm going to sing happy birthday to you. So cumpleaños, oh, in Spanish, of course. Cumpleaños feliz, cumpleaños feliz. Te deseamos todos cumpleaños feliz. Happy birthday, Heather. Hope you had a good time. I'm sure you did. No, I'm happy to be older. Hi, Dottie. Okay, so this news about the perpetrator of the Southport stabbings. It's very serious, isn't it? You know, so just to remind anybody who was on another planet and maybe didn't know about it, because I think even in other countries knew about this. This was something that happened in the UK, in Southport, which is sort of in the north of the UK. And these three little girls were at a Taylor Swift workshop. It was the first day of their summer holidays. And if we go from left to right with these victims, so there was Elsie, Alice and BB, and they were at a Taylor Swift workshop type thing. Now, you know, everybody's crazy about Taylor Swift these days, except for Donald Trump, because he doesn't like her, because she doesn't like him. You know, there's so many Swifties, aren't there, of all ages. And these little girls had gone to this dance workshop, Taylor Swift type, you know, they were looking forward to it. They'd be dancing to Taylor Swift and with their friends, etc. And this twonk, I suppose I should show, because we do have to remember who he is, because you know, we have to remember that we don't ever want to see him on the streets again. And he was such this young boy. He was 17 at the time. Since then, he's become 18. He was only just 17. You know, he hit 18, I think, just after he was arrested. And it caused, what have I done with that picture? Where's the picture gone? Great. Can't find his picture. Well, that's not a problem really, but I'll find it on Google. Yeah, this young lad, very young lad, who lived not too far away, got in a taxi. Got in a taxi from his home. There was a video emerged of him leaving his house, pacing up and down outside his home. Let's just show these. So he was pacing up and down outside his home, and then he ordered a taxi. This young lad here now, he does look very troubled on this picture. This is what he looks like now, because this is his, you know, the drawings that they did of him in court. He's covering his face. He's got more of an afro haircut now. This was him when he was younger, but there's something in that face, isn't there? Again, in his eyes, we always talk about the eyes. What had happened to this boy? You know, because once he was a little boy, like, and he was in a Doctor Who commercial, wasn't he? He was in this, he was sort of involved in drama a little bit. And what happened to him? That's what you always want to know, isn't it? What happens to these twonks? You know, because they're all little boys or little girls once. What happens to them later that turns them into, you know, not just, you know, all teenagers are troubled. I personally believe that all teenagers are troubled one way or another. They all go through difficult stages. But, you know, it's a difference between a bit of shoplifting, smoking, bit of alcohol, or smoking a spliff, or whatever. There's a bit of a difference between that and going out and stabbing 3 little girls to death. And he also stabbed 10 other people. So, you know, we'll look at his actually what he's accused of in a moment. But yeah, what does this anyway? I think this is his father here on this drawing. So I feel for his family. You know, that's not very nice for them, is it? I'm going to download that. Can I save that? And then I can, yeah, I can put it actually on the thing then. Yeah, I do feel for his family too, because, you know, it's not very nice, is it, to find out that your son has done that? It must be bloody awful. I can't imagine it, you know, just awful. So he's probably never coming out of prison unless his age goes for him. Anyway, I think that there's obviously some mental health issues here, and I won't be surprised if he's a boy that, you know, just sort of lost the plot and started spending too much time in his bedroom smoking drugs and, you know, researching horrible things online, etc. So originally, of course, he was charged with the murders and the stabbings. Now, this, if you remember, in the summer, it caused a massive outcry in the UK, didn't it? Because initially reports were circulating that was an immigrant that had done this, that this immigrant had come over just the year before, was staying in a migrant hotel. You know, all this false information was circulating around the internet. Whereas Axel actually, well, his parents were immigrants, you know, from years ago. Axel himself was born in Cardiff. His parents are from Rwanda. And he was a Christian, or, you know, brought up as a Christian. So that, but then, you know, all the riots erupted in the UK, wasn't it? And because it was very hot as well. And, you know, all those things contribute towards it, don't they? So it'd be unlikely to have more riots now, because it's probably freezing and raining and God knows what. So hopefully there won't be a backlash to this latest bit of information. So the police went to great lengths, the authorities went to great lengths to try and tone down these riots. They were arresting people left, right and centre, and announcing their names, etc., on social media, making examples of them, giving them prison sentences. Because, I mean, to be fair, there weren't protests that these people were doing. They were riots, you know, they were causing criminal damage. They were scaring the community of Southport even more than it had already been scared, you know. So all those things are not good. Peaceful protest is one thing, but you know, violent protest, etc., is another. Anyway, they calmed down in the end, and you know, probably the weather changed. They call him, the police call it PC rain, don't they? When PC rain comes in, everything gets a lot easier for them. But, you know, the thing is, everyone has a point to make. There are problems with immigration, of course there are. But, you know, the way that it was being protested about was not the right way. And also because this guy, in fact, was not an immigrant. He was born in the UK. At the end of the day, he was brought up British and not brought up, you know, with any, as far as we know, with any sort of religious extremism. But this is the problem, that now it transpires he's being charged with another offence which does involve some sort of terrorist type connections, although the police are still saying it was not a terrorist incident. So do you think they're saying that just because they don't want a repeat of what happened before? You know, they found some very compromising things in his house, and have they waited till now to announce it because they've only just found them? I doubt it. So they will have found those things quite early on, but they probably didn't want to publicize that at the time because of all the unrest. You know, Britain was really it was scary for everybody. So it was scary for anybody who wasn't participating in those violent protests. It was scary for anyone who was Muslim, because I had people message me saying they were terrified to go out the house, you know, even to go to the shops or whatever, because the atmosphere was such heightened tension against Muslims in general. And you know, especially if you're a female, you can't hide the fact if you're wearing a hijab, or you know, so it's terrifying for people. So it makes you wonder, have the police kept this under wraps for all this time deliberately, hoping things will calm down? Anyway, let's have a look at the article that talks about it. Let me see where it is. So, yeah, have they just waited till it calms down a little bit? I don't know. Who knows? But, yeah, so the murder suspects, because, of course, he's still called a suspect because, you know, he hasn't had a trial yet. Axel Rudakubana has been charged after Rissin and Al-Qaeda manual found in his house. So I think they'd be struggling to say it's not a terror attack, really, if they found these kind of things. So he has already been charged with 3 counts of murder and 10 counts of attempted murder following the mass stabbing at a Taylor Swift-themed dance workshop in July. So as I say, here's the boy himself. Does look, he has got those eyes there, hasn't he? Just what happened to him, that because we have seen pictures of him where he looks a lot happier and a lot, and then what changes someone to sort of have that look, you know, because it's you know, it does look scary, I think, on there. Anyway, let's have a look at the video. So this is
la cocina ha evolucionado. ¿Y tú? Desde técnicas como la esferificación hasta la cocina al vacío, descubre.
Today, the Crown.
So this is the police lady. She spoke in July. Serena Kennedy, the chief constable. She spoke in. She was the one that told us that he'd been arrested, etc., and tried to calm everybody down and say, you know, he was British, he was born in the UK, etc., because feelings were running so high, weren't they? So let's hear what she's got to say about these latest charges.
The Crown Prosecution Service has authorised Axel Rudakubana, aged 18, from Lancashire, to be charged with 2 further offences. Axel Rudakubana already faces 3 charges of murder, 10 charges of attempted murder, and 1 charge of possession of a knife. The 2 further offences relate to evidence obtained by Merseyside police during searches of Axel Rudakubana's home address as part of a lengthy and complex investigation which has been ongoing since the 29th of July. The additional charges are the production of a biological toxin, namely ricin, contrary to Section 1 of the Biological Weapons Act 1974, and possession of information, namely a PDF file entitled Military Studies in the Jihad Against the Tyrants, the Al-Qaeda Training Manual, likely to be useful to a person committing or preparing to commit an act of terrorism. My plea is to be patient. Don't engage in rumour and speculation. Don't believe everything you read on social media. we must not lose sight of the families of Elsie, BB and Alice, who are still grieving. Today, the Crown Prosecution said...
I'm going to play it again in a moment, but yeah. So thank you, Misty, for joining again. Thank you so much. I think it was Annie who came. If I missed anybody else coming in, I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep up and say hello to everyone. And that was interesting, Dottie, that you were actually there, were you, on the day of the incident? It must have been terrifying, really. So, there's no way that they've just found these items now, have they? You know, months later. They must have found them instantly, but because it was already, you know, all this, as all the riots started and everything, they would have been scared of releasing that information in case it just egged people on. Now, I have to say there was misinformation, you know, because a name was circulated of an immigrant who it was supposed to have been someone who'd come in the year before on a boat, come over on a boat. There were definite lies circulating. And in fact, the person who circulated those lies has been exposed at the source of it. And they said, oh, well, it doesn't matter that he was from born in Cardiff. His parents were immigrants. You know, it was deliberately, you know, the riots were deliberately caused. So that's a separate thing. But of course, now it turns out, you know, it looks like it was an act of terrorism. I mean, what came over this boy? You know, this is, you just at the end of the day, he was a boy. Whichever way you look at it. But what possessed him to wake up that morning? What possesses somebody to wake up one morning and think, oh, what will I do today? Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll go and stab a load of children. You know, it's like you just can't, you know, if you're a right-minded person, you cannot get your head around it, can you? You know, you just can't fathom that somebody could plan that. You know, those little angels, you know, they hadn't done anything wrong to anybody. You know, all right, go off and stab, I don't know, the government or someone from the government. I'm not saying that's right. I'm not saying that's right. But you can see how, you know, fighting against the establishment. But to kill all those little girls just seems so... you know, it's just not right, is it? Because they hadn't done anything to anybody. You know, it's like picking on the wrong person. If you've got an axe to grind, you know, at least pick the right person to grind it against, if you like, but not little girls, little children. You know, it's just so horrible. And we never get our head around it, will we? Let's watch this lady again talking.
Service has authorised Axel Rudakubana, aged 18, from Lancashire, to be charged with 2 further offences. Axel Rudakubana already faces 3 charges of murder, 10 charges of attempted murder, and 1 charge of possession of a knife.
So he's already facing 3 murder charges, 10 charges of attempted murder, and possession of a knife. I mean, this boy is not coming out of prison, is he? His life is over. You know, and so it should be. I'm not saying he should, you know, but his life is over. But I hope they can learn some lessons from this. You know, there's something about people, just the youth of young people, just spending too much time alone in their bedrooms, you know, and that's how they get involved in weird things, I think.
The 2 further offences relate to evidence obtained by Merseyside police during searches of Axel Rudakubana's home address as part of a lengthy and complex investigation which has been ongoing since the 29th of July.
So, yeah, so they'll have found those things ages ago. I just wanted to say something though. So I was thinking about, you know, when I was at home, one of my brothers, he sort of went through, I suppose, a difficult time when he was a teenager, what you'd call a difficult time. But it was a different age though, so he didn't have he used to disappear off into his bedroom for hours and hours. But you know what? He would taught himself to play the guitar because he had to do something else. Thank God there wasn't bloody computers. God knows what he would have got involved in. So, you know, when he was sort of 16, 17, 18, he was always up in his bedroom. And then he'd actually taught himself to play the guitar, and he plays the guitar brilliantly, and it's haunting the way he plays the guitar. So at least something positive came out of his sort of difficult time, probably from when he was 14. Actually, I mean, it's all a bit of a blur because, to be honest, it wasn't easy to live with. Let's put it that way. So we were glad when he went off into his bedroom. To be honest, in fact, deliriously happy when he went off into his bedroom. But if he would have been now, he would have been one of these people on the computer. God knows what he would have been getting involved in, because he was going through some mental health problems, really, you know, which a lot of I think teenagers are especially susceptible, aren't they, to mental health issues, you know, anything that they may have when they hit puberty. You know, that's when it all gets unleashed, doesn't it? And it's such a difficult time for everyone. Some people cope with it better than others. Now, of course, your teenager disappears off into the bedroom and they're on PlayStation games or violent games often. I mean, I'm guilty of, my son did that as well. And you know, it just didn't click with me. Now we're a bit more aware of all this. You know, they'll be on violent sort of games like, you know, Gangs of London, or even sort of, what's that other one, like war games, Call of Duty, etc. You know, they're good in one way. I'm not against PlayStation games or Xbox games, because they do encourage thinking. You know, you have to think your way into the next level. You know, they encourage logical thinking. They've got positive sides. But, you know, I do think they create a sense of like, it's not, depending on how often they play on them, isn't it? I mean, it's like everything else, you know, an hour a day is not that bad, is it? But if you're on it constantly 24 hours a day, or as long whenever you're awake, it's not good, is it? I don't care what anyone says. People can say what they like, but it's not good. Just like drinking's not good for you if you're drinking 24 hours a day, or smoking marijuana is not good for you if you're smoking marijuana 24 hours a day. You know, everything has to be in moderation, and if it's not, it leads to problems. You know, that's just common sense, isn't it? So I don't know about this boy. Maybe that'll emerge later on, what other issues he had. But yeah, it does seem funny that they're still not going down the terrorism route. Now, whether they're doing that because they don't want, you know, a backlash, how can they say it's not terrorist related if they've found bloody Reesin and Al-Qaeda workshop book or whatever in his room? How can that's another thing it just shows you. You don't know what your teenager's got in their room or what they're looking at, or sometimes you think you know what they're doing, you don't know what they're doing, and it's really difficult to find out, you know, because teenagers are secretive.
The additional charges are the production of a biological toxin, namely ricin, contrary to Section 1 of the Biological Weapons Act 1974, and possession of information, namely a PDF file entitled Military Studies in the Jihad Against the Tyrants, the Al-Qaeda Training Manual, likely to be useful to a person committing or preparing to commit an act of terrorism. My plea is to be patient. Don't engage in rumour and speculation. Don't believe everything you read on social media. We must not lose sight of the families of Elsie, Bibi, and Alice, who are still grieving.
Yeah. So, anyway, hi Laurie. I think I missed a couple of people coming in. Hi Jean. Oh, I think I said hello to Jean. Hi Angel. Hope I haven't missed anyone. I think I might have missed someone. But anyway, never mind. Sorry, if I've missed you coming in, hello. And thanks for being here. Oh, and thank you to everyone who's just watching at home, who doesn't like to join in the chat. And of course, thank you to anyone who's watching on replay. Replay crew. So what are these things that have been found? Let's have a look. So so he faces a charge of the production of a biological toxin, namely ricin, I don't know how that's pronounced, contrary to the Section 1 of the Biological Weapons Act. So when it says the production, does that mean he's tried to make it himself, or has he ordered it off the internet, or has learned how to make it over the internet, or has learned how to make it from this Al-Qaeda handbook or whatever? So he also faces a terror charge of possession of information likely to be useful to a person committing or preparing an act of terrorism, contrary to Section 58 of the Terrorism Act 2000. This charge relates to a PDF file entitled Military Studies in the Jihad Against the Tyrants, the Al-Qaeda Training Manual. However, police have not declared the events of 29th of July a terrorist incident. So let's have a look at this. Why haven't they? According to Sky News, of course, this is. Why police have not declared Southport attack a terror incident. Officers have urged the public not to speculate. Sorry. It just makes me laugh. I mean, if it wasn't so deadly serious, it would be funny. To keep telling everybody not to speculate, then be transparent. You know, if you don't want people to speculate, be transparent. So they've urged the public not to speculate on the motive for the attack at the Taylor Swift themed class in Southport. Now, where does it say why? So it says for the Southport attack to be classed as terrorism, motivation would need to be established, according to police. Word salad. The matter for which Axel Rudakubana has been charged under the Terrorism Act does not require motive to be established, said Miss Kennedy. So the terror charge refers to this PDF file, and it says he possessed it between the 29th of August 2021. So he's had it for 3 years, since he was 14. The charge is possession of information likely to be useful to a person committing or preparing to commit an act of terrorism. He's been charged under Section 58 of the Terrorism Act 2000. Now, no, I feel like I want to find that PDF and read it, but I'll probably get bloody arrested then for owning it. But how do you research it? If you know, how do you research? I'd like to see what was in that PDF. Does it say about going and attacking places with knives? You know, information likely to be useful to a person committing or preparing to commit an act of terrorism. So does it advise people to go and kill, you know, because it can't get, especially in Britain, it's hard to get hold of a gun. So does it advise people how to do it? Does it tell them to go to places where there's children and vulnerable people that are easy to attack? Because at the end of the day, children are an easy target, aren't they? It goes into a soldier's barracks, or, you know, tries to go into the Houses of Parliament or something. That's much more difficult, isn't it? But he's going for soft targets. Is that what this PDF tells you to do? You know, I can't research it because as soon as I download it, I expect I'm in trouble for it as well. I suppose maybe you can read it online. So yeah, and then this lethal biological toxin, ricin. Let's have a look what that is. What is ricin? The biological substance. Need to change it. What is ricin? The biological substance police say they found at Southport suspect's home. So it's derived from castor beans, apparently. And let's see. It's found naturally in castor beans, and when the beans are processed to make castor oil, it leaves a mash that contains the toxin. It's classed as a biological substance because of its origin, but it doesn't spread from person to person like a virus or a bacteria. But like a chemical, it can cause cross-contamination, for example, through contact on clothing. The UK Health Security Agency says there's no evidence that any member of the public or the emergency services was exposed to the ricin allegedly found at Rudakubana's house. Yeah, it looks so innocent, doesn't it? Anyone who had been exposed would have developed the first symptoms within 24 hours or so. If it's inhaled, it causes progressive breathing difficulties, ultimately causing respiratory failure and death. And if it's ingested, it initially causes diarrhea and vomiting that can be severe enough to result in dehydration. Days later, the body's organs begin to shut down, possibly causing death. Skin contact causes irritation, but it isn't serious in itself. The risk is that people who pick it up on their fingers, for example, could then ingest it. And 2 to 6% of cases of ingestion result in death. And the fatality rate from inhalation is unknown. And no information has been given by the police on what form the ricin was found in. You know, if it had already been processed or not, we don't know that yet. So that's scary, isn't it? Ricin. Thank you, Dottie. Ricin. Scary. Hi, BF. Yeah. I mean, they're definitely trying to play it down. In a way, you can't blame them because we don't want more riots, that's for sure. And I wonder if it's relevant that they release this information on the day the budget's coming out, because, of course, everyone will be all about the budget. And, you know, they've probably been waiting for a suitable time to release this information. So that is it's pretty scary, isn't it? You know, it is pretty scary. Gosh. Anyway, now the other thing I want to look at, so I don't think we've had a response about this from the Prime Minister. You know, what the Secretary of State, it's Yvette, isn't it? Yvette Cooper. I don't think we've had, well, I'll have a look. I'm going to have a look in a minute, because there has been a response from the possible next leader of the Conservative Party, Robert Jenrick. He's responded to it, and he's sort of jumped on the bandwagon a bit, I think, because, you know, the police have asked for calm and this, that and the other. And, of course, anyway, never mind. Let's see what he's got to say, because he has made a statement about it. Have a look. Did have it ready, but let's see. Hello. You know, it's a very tricky situation, isn't it? Because I think they do have to be transparent, but how do they be transparent without kicking off another load of riots? I mean, you know, they don't want to do that, do they?
They have been withheld from the public here. As the dad of 3 daughters, the Southport attack hit me personally. Of course, the legal process needs to be respected, but I'm seriously concerned that the facts may have been withheld from the public here. The government and authorities told us for months that they were not treating this as a terrorist incident. But today, the attacker has been charged with terrorist offences, and it has been revealed that he has been allegedly reading terrorist manuals. This atrocity was of immense public concern. The public had the right to know the truth right away. Any suggestion of a cover-up will permanently damage.
Yeah, see, I know what he's saying, and I do agree with him up to a point, but they couldn't, does he remember? Does he not remember? See, he doesn't live in these places where there was riots going on. So it didn't affect him. He said it affected him personally because he's got daughters, but actually it didn't, because he won't live anywhere near where these riots are going on. But you see, you can, as much as you can see, that he's right in some ways, that, we expect the government to be transparent, but also, at the time it was just so, the atmosphere was just so like touch paper, wasn't it? So you can also see that side of it, but anyway.
Damage trust in whether we are being told the truth about crime in our country. So Keir Starmer must urgently explain to the country what he knew about the Southport attack and when he learnt it. Across the board, the hard reality of mass migration is being covered up. The public can see with their own eyes that they are being gaslit by the liberal elite.
Oh, come on. Now,
as the dad of three...
You do realise that for 14 years the Tories were in control of the country. Now, he's got to admit that. You can't, this isn't something that has only just started happening. It's happened for 14 years and his government never did anything to change it, did it? Never got any better. In fact, it got worse. So you can't, I think it's, you can't, he's right in some things that he's saying. Would he be saying the same thing if he was the Prime Minister? Because the police would be saying to him then, look, we don't want this. We've got to calm down this situation. It's easy when you're in opposition, of course. You can be more critical. But, I take on board a lot of the things he's saying. But I think it's a bit rich for him to blame the situation as it is, on anyone except his government that's been in power for 14 years.
Daughters, the Southport attack hit me personally. Of course, the legal process needs to be respected, but I'm seriously concerned that the facts may have been withheld from the public here. The government and authorities told us for months that they were not treating this as a terrorist incident. But today, the attacker has been charged with terrorist offences, and it has been revealed that he has been allegedly reading terrorist manuals. This atrocity was of immense public concern. The public had the right to know the truth right away. Any suggestion of a cover-up will permanently damage trust in whether we are being told the truth about crime in our country. So Keir Starmer must urgently explain to the country what he knew about the Southport attack and when he learnt it. Across the board,
let's just carry on.
The hard reality of mass migration is being covered up. The public can see with their own eyes that they are being gaslit by the liberal elite.
Yeah, so I don't agree with all that, but I take his point. Now, let's see if has Yvette Cooper actually said anything? And the other candidate for the Conservative Party leadership, Kemi Badenoch, I don't think she said anything either yet, or I haven't seen it yet. Doesn't mean to say she hasn't said anything, because I only see what comes up on my Twitter feed. Face for liar. Yeah. So what about No, I want to find Yvette Cooper's own thing. Anyway, yeah. So as far as I know, I haven't seen anything that Yvette Cooper has said or that Kemi Badenoch has said about it, or that Keir Starmer said about it, to be honest. Anyway, there's more to come, obviously, about that. I just wanted to tell you about that. I'm sure you all already knew about it, maybe saw it on the news, or I know some people don't watch the news. But it's intriguing, isn't it? And, you know, yeah, the government, they do cover things up, but sometimes, you know, what were they supposed to do at that time? That'd be really light in the torch paper, you know. I don't know. So it's not a decision I have to make. I'm not the government. So, but sometimes I expect they do cover things up for good reasons, and some things they're not. But anyway, never mind. So, going to move on from that now. Now that everyone has got all angry with the government and everything. Let me just put one of my little banners on because I forgot to say my thank yous at the start of this. I'm going to take the little girl's picture off because I'm going to talk about other things now, and it's not respectful to leave their pictures up while I'm talking about the Spanish floods, etc. Let's have a different one up. Let's have this one. Not in the mood for twonks today. So yeah, because I forgot earlier to say thank you to everyone. Thank you to everyone for watching, for subscribing, for liking, for sharing. Special thank you to my members, of course. I hope you enjoyed the special song the other night. Special thank you to everyone who's bought me a Ko-fi, sent me a super, or PayPal'd me. Thank you so much, and thanks to all of you that send me nice emails, messages, photos, etc. Okay. Oh, and just don't forget to like. Don't forget to leave your DNA on the like button. Now, we're going to start looking now at the floods in Spain. So, I could gather from some of the comments in the chat, you know, some of you had heard about it on the news and what I've had quite a few messages from people asking if I'm okay and this, that, and the other, because people were concerned about what they'd seen. Miami is terrible. I hadn't realised they were so bad across the rest of Spain, because although we did have the storms and wind, etc., but it wasn't too bad, thankfully. And most of it was sort of in the night, if you like, when, you know, you didn't have to be out and about, thankfully. But yeah, I'm going to just show you some photos. I'm going to, so it was reported on CNN it was that bad. You know, Spain doesn't normally get that much attention from America, to be perfectly honest. Here's some photos, but we're going to look at some videos. Yeah. This picture here, we're going to see this on the video where these guys are going out to rescue a guy. This is a supermarket. This is a supermarket that delivers my food, where Mercadona, they do their deliveries. This poor guy has gone out to do his deliveries and he's ended up stuck in his van. And these two guys did go out and save him. He was saved. But you can see how terrible it's been with these flash floods, etc. And apparently, yeah, 51 people have been recovered, deceased because of the floods so far. So let's find this video on CNN. To have a look at. And it's really, I say, you know, not like this where I am, but not that far away.
esperando. No, pues ya hablé con el... Anda, que si no sé. No, pues. ¿Qué tropezón? No coge ni el teléfono, ¿no? Yo conozco dos o tres. Él me dice, ¿estáis viendo mucho? Y dije, ¿está negado la casa? Digo, estoy trabajando. Y me venía, yo he hecho, están 4 sitios. Y ahora pues, me llama mi vecino, y yo había hablado con él, y hasta las 12 no había pasado nada. Pero ha caído en un ratillo, han caído, yo qué sé, por 300, 400, no sabemos.
Yeah, so you can see here they've got a load of mud to
Pues por lo pronto la suciedad, la alambrada también, la movida.
I'm just going to fast forward it a bit because obviously she's speaking in Spanish.
Porque al final,
Now, I mean, so I think the worst of it was in Valencia, Malaga, southeastern Spain. Look at that. Gosh, it's fast flowing as well, isn't it? Oh my God. So there'll be a lot of insurance being paid out.
¿No? Ese es uno de los trovadores. Este también es uno de los trovadores. Recién el pueblo de al lado.
See, this is the thing in Spain. We don't get much rain. We get very, very little rain. You know, there's normally droughts. But when we get it, it's like this. You know, God. So this bridge, the water, you know, came right up, covered the bridge, and they had to wade across the bridge. Let me just listen to this guy. Now, it's probably a good job you can't understand Spanish because it's quite upsetting because
la mitad de la caza, arrancado media caza y hemos tenido que meternos, mira cómo venimos con los pantalones.
That's where the water came up to on that bridge. It, you know, it covered the bridge at one point. And this guy, he said that perros, I'm going in Spanglish mode now. Dogs were swept away, horse was swept away. You know, it's the animals that suffer as well. But they did save a lot of them. But, you know, it just breaks your heart, the animals that will have lost their lives.
Me roto de rescatar a los perros. Tenía sus perros y nos acabamos de meter hace una hora a rescatar a los perros. Que los tiene justo.
So he said they rescued some dogs. So that's good.
Al lado del río y lo hemos podido salvar. Están allí.
Oh, look at that.
Hasta hace una hora llegaba hasta aquí. Tú paseabas por aquí y te daban los tobillos. Me eché empapado. Pero que lo que se ha puesto a nivel de... Tú por aquí no podías pasar. Ahí no veías ni el puente. O sea que ha bajado un pedazo.
Gosh. It's terrifying.
El montón de perros que se ha llevado caballos, se ha llevado todo lo que ha llevado. Todo lo que... Y un vecino también se ha quedado...
He said a load of dogs, a montón de perros. Oh, I can't even think about that. A horse. You know, they can swim though, can't they? So they may have been okay if they were swept away. But as long as they kept their head above water, they might have been okay. I hope so. It's heartbreaking.
Trancaron un coche, se ha quedado encerrado en un coche y no sabíamos si estará bien, si no estará.
O no, a lo mejor
Entra en ganas de... No, pues ya hablé con el... Anda, que si no sé. No, pues. se tropezó. Yo conozco dos. Él me dice, ¿estáis viendo mucho? Y dije, ¿está negado la casa? Digo, estoy trabajando. Y me venía, yo he hecho, he estado en 4 sitios. Y ahora pues, me llama mi vecino y yo había hablado con él y hasta las 12 no había pasado nada. Pero ha caído en un ratillo, han caído, yo qué sé, por 300, 400. No sabemos.
I just, which comment, Misty, you said you won't be offended if I remove it. I haven't seen, which comment, sorry, is it a comment on another video? I can't see any other comment, but I'd have to go right back in the chat, but I won't remove your comment. Whatever your comment is, it'll be fine, as long as it's not really nasty, and I know it won't be nasty from you.
Pues, por lo pronto, la suciedad.
Okay, so, yeah. It's pretty scary, isn't it? Have I got another video somewhere? I have that. Yeah, I'll just show you this article in the, I think it's in the Guardian. Yeah, dead bodies found after torrential rain brings flash flood in Spain. And yeah, Dottie, I do live in Spain. I live on mainland Spain. Not far from where these terrible floods are, but we didn't have anything like this. So unspecified number of bodies found as floodwaters push cars through streets, close roads and cancelled train services in Valencia. Let's have a look. Yeah. Yeah, so this is the Mercadona van. Look, this poor guy, I think it's a Mercadona van. They do rescue him. So this is a video released by the police, by the Guardia Civil. Oh my God. Righty. Oh, and something that might make you smile a little bit, but because I don't know if you know, but firemen in Spain, in Spanish, they're called bomberos. And then in Valenciano, which is like a regional language of Spain, they're called bombers. They've actually got bombers on the back of their jackets. I had a video of that actually, but I don't know what's happened to it. Yeah, you had these firemen, and when they turned round, they had bombers on their jackets. So it always strikes me as sort of quite funny that firemen are actually called bombers. Well, in Spain, they're bomberos. And then in Valencian, they're bombers. Let me just, all right, I'm putting a few windows down now. So that's the floods in Spain. Oh, am I back? Can you hear me okay? Because I think I went off there. Can you hear me okay? I think it went off for a minute, but it seems to be back now. Hi, Julie. Yeah, did you just have it? Yeah. you know, a lot of people, hi Dottie, so a lot of people are blaming it on climate change and that, but it's always been like that in Spain, to be honest. Every now and again we get these, it's called the gota fria or la dana, they call it. Gota fria means cold drops, quite close to where I am. They had hailstones the size of like tennis balls. That I can show you. Let's have a look. Oh, no, it's not coming up. But let's see. How can I find it? Hailstone, Spain. Yeah, 1 year, friends of mine, they had to, their car was written off because of hailstones. I mean, they're not just little hailstones, they are. Here's a picture of him. They're, you know, they're enormous. And they're dangerous because if you're caught outside when these are coming down, they could kill you. They're that big. And they wrecked my friend's car. Their car roof looked like someone had taken a hammer and whacked it with a hammer. But it's always been, this is not a new thing, really. You know, I know the weather's a big thing that people talk about now, isn't it? It's like, you know, climate change and this, that and the other. But this is not a new thing. This has always happened. So.
Mira qué bola.
Look.
Redondita. Tamaño.
That is a real hailstone. It's just unbelievable. And they're broken windscreens. So if one of those hits you on the head, it's going to hurt.
Por todos sitios.
They're massive. That is something that we do get in this area quite a lot as well. Not exactly where I am, but out in the campo, out more in the countryside.
Madre mía.
Madre mía. Madre mía, that's a common Spanish expression. Let's just watch that again.
Mira, mira cómo baja. Mira, 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 mira. Madre mía. Mira qué bola. Redondita. Tamaño. Miren todos los coches, los cristales rotos. Cristales rotos por todos sitios.
Wow. Like a golf ball, isn't it? That's really going to hurt when it falls on top of your head. And like you said there, David, about that oh, but I'd hate to be in an aeroplane being hit by them. It's bad enough. But that's what my friend's car looked like, just like a someone had took a sledgehammer and just, you know, hit their car with it. So, yeah, that's the weather we sometimes get in Spain, unfortunately. But at least it wasn't this time. It wasn't in my area, really. The thing about weather in Spain, I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's literally so localized. You know, you can have a storm, rain and everything, and literally just a kilometre away, they've got nothing. Sunny day, bright. So it's really weird. It seems to be localized in really small areas, you know, but seems much more localized than it is in the UK, because Spain, I suppose because Spain's a big country. I don't know about weather and things like that. I don't think it's ever been any different in the 25 years that I've been in Spain. I don't think it's got any worse. Like last year, the summer was really hot last year. This year it was hot, of course. It's always hot, you know. You know it's going to be hot. That's one thing you do know in Spain, is the summer's going to be hot. But this year it wasn't as hot as last year. definitely wasn't as hot as last year. Last year, go in the bathroom. Go on. Last year, it was unbearable. It was like literally unbearable. But this year, it wasn't, it was bad, but it wasn't too bad. So I don't know if it's getting worse or if it's always been the same. I don't even know what to think about climate change, really. Okay, stop it, you bad girl. Anyway, so what we're going to talk about last now, we're going to talk about this human Ken. It was a story that I saw this morning. And I wanted to talk about this because I think this is a lesson for anyone considering plastic surgery, Botox particularly, especially if you're young. So this guy, apparently, let's have a look at him. This guy was spending, he was on This Morning years ago talking about the fact that he had, here he is, Jimmy Featherstone, and he was on ITV's This Morning a couple of years ago talking about his, what would you even call it, his obsession, if you like, with keeping his face perfect. And you can see he's a very handsome guy. Oh, I wonder if we can watch the video. Yeah, good looking man. But this, of course, was a little while ago.
I started tanning about 15, around my mum. She loves the tan as well. And living with sisters and brothers, my mum.
So he's obviously he started tanning when he was 14, I think he said, or something. He's addicted to tanning. You can see, well, it looks like even then, even though he looks lovely, you can tell that he's had some Botox, etc. And he's so young. I mean, so apparently he was spending £1,000 a month on this, £1,000 a month. But it says here to look black. I don't know. It doesn't look black, does he? But anyway, he was spending £1,000 a month on plastic to keep a perfect face. So he got this nickname, the Human Ken Doll. Now, something's obviously gone wrong somewhere along the line for this guy, because now he's facing, he may have to go to prison because he's admitted a sextortion blackmail plot.
Mum's very glamorous, and I've always had that bond with my mum, and she got me actually into the tanning stage.
So you was watching your mum doing her tan and you thought, oh, I'm going to get involved here.
Yeah, and then from there, I just try any tan,
Oh, so they're mainly talking about tanning. Well, tanning, that's not as dangerous, is it, as plastic surgery, I suppose. So, yeah, he said he spends £1,000 a year on plastic surgery to maintain his perfect face. Apparently he told her that.
People say to me, I'm so dark one day, and then tomorrow I'll be completely different colour, because I do wash the tan off as well and look after my skin underneath all this.
But is that the ultimate, compliment for you when someone says, oh, you look really dark today?
Yes, because I'm achieving something that I want to look dark. I want to look darker.
Do you want to look black like me, babes?
I do, babes, yeah.
Okay. Tell me something about the fact that it went from tanning to something a little bit more serious, actually, tanning injections.
Yep.
Tanning injections. Do you know, I think some people are addicted to injections. That would just terrify me, the thought of being injected with anything that doesn't, is not natural, whether it's for good reasons, even like vaccines and things like that. I've had my vaccines and things, but didn't want to have them. It's like, I'd be dreading it. But I think do you think you get addicted to plastic surgery? Do you think you can get addicted to, do you think once you start off doing these type of things, you just sort of end up on like a roller coaster where you can't get off?
Which are they're illegal here in the UK, aren't they? So
yeah.
how do you get them, first of all?
Well, you can just buy them offline, and then you get them within two to 3 days, standard delivery. And when they come in like a little pot, liquid.
Hang on. So she just said they're illegal in the UK, and she said, where did you get them from? He said, you just get them offline and they arrive in 2 to 3 days. How's that? How does that work if they're illegal? Dear me.
Quid, and once you've opened that pot, you do it every day. And the first time I did that, I was 18, and I was in bed for about 2 days. I was really poorly off these injections.
What are the symptoms of that?
I was just really hot and really sick, but I still do it now, and I just...
So it made him ill, and he still carried on doing it. This is what it's got to be an addiction. It's got to be an addiction just the same as drugs and alcohol and things like that. Once you get into this, I really do think that. I think once you start, you can't get off that roller coaster. Right, just put the dog in the bathroom because she's not being a good girl. Go on, in. Yeah, it's like a roller coaster that you get on, and then you can't get back off it again, can you?
Feel the liquid is what it's doing to my body. I believe I'm used to it now.
Dear me. So anyway, not for me, I'm afraid, but I'm glad it's not for me. So how old is he now? He's not 25 now, is he? Surely not. Was he 25 then? So this...
A unique stadium project extended to 60 acres.
This was him then on the Alison Hammond programme. And this is him now. So this was him at court. This is what it does to you. I'm sorry, this poor guy, I feel for him. You know, how many people do you see? They look absolutely gorgeous anyway, like Katie Price. She's another one. She was beautiful as she was. Start off having all these treatments. Yeah, okay, that looks fine. Then as you get older, this is how you end up looking. I'm sorry, but it's just, you know, it's a shame. Because remember Pete Burns? You know, Pete Burns, he was on Celebrity Big Brother, wasn't he? His lips sort of exploded. You know, he'd had that much Botox put in his lips. It was, and he got infections, and it was horrible. You know, I just think it's horrible for them. You know, I don't mean they're horrible. I don't know. I mean, he can't be very nice if he's doing this sextortion. He's probably trying to get more money for more plastic surgery. You know, just all, it doesn't, it's, you know, he doesn't, bless him. And honestly, I do feel for him, but that it just doesn't look good, does it? You know, he's gone from this to this. Now, none of us look the same as we get older. I know that, you know. Thing is, it's funny, isn't it? Because when you're younger, you never think that you look nice anyway, do you? You never feel attractive. Well, some people are just, you know, you have that insecurity when you're young that I think you do lose a bit when you get older, because as you get older, you don't care. So you don't care. But, you know, none of us look as good now as we did when we were younger. But at least you're growing old gracefully or disgracefully, whichever way. I always say I'm growing old disgracefully. I don't want to have weird sort of cheek fillers and Botox forehead and lips and that, because I've never seen anyone who looks nice with it. You know, not eventually, maybe in the beginning when you have that little touch up. I just think you've got to be really careful not to get obsessed with it. Probably, as I say, like everything else, little bit of alcohol's fine, little bit of spliff or cannabis or whatever is fine. Little bit of everything is fine. But if you overdo it, this is unfortunately how you're going to end up. So this actual court case that is up for is said that he could be locked up for blackmailing a man. And the police had, in a statement, previously described the offences involving sextortion, and that Neil Coxon, prosecuting, said that the offence affected not only the man who was the victim of it, but also his partner. And a statement from the partner was being obtained as part of the prosecution case. So the recorder, Ian Malarkey, told Featherstone, "You have pleaded guilty to what is a serious case. All options would be considered at the next hearing, including a possible prison sentence." So it's a shame, but to me, the biggest shame is, what this boy has done to himself. And I agree. I don't, fancy his mum encouraging him to do that. How could any mother or father or anyone encourage someone to, really, that is abusing your own body, isn't it? To that extent, spending £1,000 a month as well. Where's he getting his money from? No wonder he's got to do sextortion, because that's who can afford to spend £1,000 a month on plastic surgery? Where's he? How's he paying his rent, etc., or his mortgage, or his food, or whatever? So yeah, it's a shame. I think it's a very sad story about the human Ken. He's not the only one. There's loads of him. Let's just have a quick look. And Barbies. Let's have a look at, see this. Sorry, but to me, none of them look good in my, maybe I've got a different idea of what looks good, but none of these look good to me. So this is him now. This was him then. Bit of a difference. I know he's older now, but there are other human Kens as well. Is that him as well? Ken doll, Jimmy Featherstone. Oh, these are all him, I think, because these are all Jimmy Featherstone. It is like, it's almost like self-abuse, isn't it? Let's look at the other ones. Look. Oh. See? I mean, oh, look at this guy. They can't. Is it just me, or this does not look nice, does it? Oh, I don't think it looks nice anyway. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's me. But give me a natural look anytime. I can't see how that can possibly, anyone can possibly think this looks nice. And how does it feel? Oh, it's a shame. It's a terrible shame, because they must feel so low inside, self-esteem, isn't it? Because you'd only do that to yourself, surely. If I wouldn't say that I've got high self-esteem, but I'm not. The thing is, as you get older as well, doesn't matter how much Botox you have or whatever facelifts you have, you always feel the same. If they could do something about my arthritis, curing my arthritis might make me feel younger. But I don't think, even, putting fillers in my face, or it's not going to make me any younger. It's not going to make me feel any younger. I still have the same aches and pains in the morning when I wake up. But I don't know. Just, it almost makes me shudder, and I don't mean that to be nasty to them. I mean the thought of that pain that they go through to get to that. It's sort of like, it's a bit creepy, isn't it? But Yeah, and it may be a form of control. The only thing is, I suppose, it's a bit like, you know, when people get anorexia, or if people overeat and what have you it's like a way of control, bulimia, those kind of things. It's got to be mentally, you know, it's a mental thing as well, isn't it? It's almost a mental illness, really. They're seeking perfection that you can never get. You know, you can never get perfection. You know, somebody will have a lovely face and then they don't like stop. They don't like their legs, or someone likes their hair but they don't like their nose, or they like their legs but they don't like their ass. You know, people are even having bottom not transplants, but having their bums made bigger. I mean, come on. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but you know, it just think, God, you know, you've got nobody's ever happy, Annie. You've got people who want their bums smaller, people who want their bums bigger, people who want their boobs smaller, people who want their boobs bigger. I don't know if there's any men who want their members smaller, but there's lots of them who want them bigger. They want hair, you know, curly hair. If you've got curly hair, they want straight hair. If you've got straight hair, people want curly hair. It all comes from an insecurity inside, you know. Some people don't give a toss what they look like. They don't care. You know, literally don't care. Don't even bother, you know, trying to make the best of themselves or whatever. So, you know, it's like, I think it's all inside you, isn't it? You know, peak confidence, things like that. It's a mental thing. It doesn't even matter what you look like, really. Looking fantastic doesn't even guarantee that you're confident. Stop. So, anyway, on that, stop. So on that note, I am going. The dogs, for some reason, I don't even know what she's barking at. There's nobody making any noise anywhere. Can't even blame the Chihuahua. She's just being a little. You're just after attention. That's all you're after. She's been a little spoilt brat and barking for nothing. Okay. So there you go. That's what I wanted to chat about with you this morning. I hope you have a great day or a great afternoon or a great evening wherever you are. And oh yeah, you've always got Kate lippy. Now I've always got lips without earrings or lipstick. I do feel bad. As long as I've got my lipstick on, I've got my earrings in. The rest of it I don't really care about. But anyway, have a good time. Whatever you're doing, wherever you are in this crazy world. And I'll see you really soon in the next video. Don't forget to leave your DNA on the like button. Don't forget to think about joining if you're not already a member. But thank you anyway for watching, liking, sharing, subscribing. That is a brilliant way of supporting my channel. Thank you so much. I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, may your God always go with you. I feel like I've forgotten to say something I wanted to say. I was going to talk about learning Spanish and things like that when I was doing it. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Take care. May your God go with you. Adios.